Welcome to Football with Cheese. So we are continuing our offseason recaps. We've already done the AFC West, so we're going to do the NFC West. And we're going to do the San Francisco 49ers. If you're not subscribed, please do so now. Enable alerts so you never miss a video. The 49ers last season, or the season before, I guess, made the Super Bowl, lost in overtime. They were so close to winning the Super Bowl, a play here, a play there, and they win. So the expectations were extremely high going into this past season. And it did not go well. They finished 6-11, dead last in the AFC West. They had the most players 30 or older on the roster. They basically tried to run it back. They didn't get a ton of immediate help from their draft class in the 2024 draft. So they tried to run it back with the same players. A lot of people got hurt. It did not work out. When you have a lot of older players, more than likely you're going to have more injuries than a team that has a lot of 24, 25, 26-year-old guys. When you have 18 players 30 and older on your initial roster, it's probably not going to go well. They had as many injuries as any team in the NFL. They still underachieved. They were not as good, obviously, close to as good as the year before, but they still should have won 8 or 9 games. They're at least league average. John Lynch realized that they couldn't run it back again. We had a lot of injuries, so he's doing a retool. It's not a rebuild. He's retooling. He's keeping his core players and then trying to replace the rest of them with draft picks, which is a sound strategy. Is it going well? We'll get into that in a second. What he did in free agency, well, first thing he did is he traded Deebo Samuel to Washington. There were some rumors of conditioning issues. It was time for both sides to move on. Deebo's been a great player for the Niners, but it was time to move on. It saved a lot of money moving him. Once again, he was trying to get younger. But they lost so much in free agency and didn't bring much in. So they're not going to be contenders this year. Despite what some people think, they're going to bounce back and be a 12, 13 win team. I've seen some people say that. No, they're not. They also lost Aaron Banks, their left guard, to the Packers. They lost middle linebacker Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga to the Broncos. 2 huge holes now on defense. Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle of the Vikings. Leonard Floyd, defensive end to the Falcons. And they lost Charvarius Ward, corner to the Colts. Underrated player. So the defense especially lost a ton. And they did not sign a lot of free agents. The ones they did are backups or replacement level players. I mentioned replacement level. Basically what that means is players you can get for cheaper in the middle rounds of the draft. Just as good. That's what a replacement level player. They signed a bunch of those guys. They didn't go after any big name free agents. A lot of it probably to do with the salary cap. So this is a retool. I think John Lynch, their general manager, knows that they're not going to be a contender, but he's shooting more for 2026, 27, 28. So they did extend some key players, like I mentioned. Brock Purdy, their quarterback. He was Mr. Irrelevant, which is the last pick in the draft a few years back. It's one of the best picks in recent history. He got a huge extension, $53 million on average per year. I think he's now the 7th highest paid quarterback. Fred Warner, middle linebacker, probably the best middle linebacker in the NFL. They extended him. And George Kittle, their tight end, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. So they kept their core players. They extended them. That's where they used their salary cap. And they let a bunch of non-core players, good players, but non-core players either be traded or leave in free agency. Let's talk about the draft. I thought their draft was one of the worst in the NFL. Mykel Williams, 11th overall, defensive end from Georgia. That's about where I had him going. I'm fine with that pick. They needed a defensive end opposite Bosa. They lost Leonard Floyd. He is a bit of a project because he has been injured. He's a good run defender, but he needs to work on pass rush moves. He's not an elite pass rusher yet. So probably don't want him to start in year 1. So that's the only issue I have with the pick. And then day 2 is where they really, to me, messed up. They lost Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle. So they replaced him with Alfred Collins from Texas. He's a good run defender, but he went in the 2nd round. To me, he was more of a late 3rd round pick. So that was a reach. And they lost Dre Greenlaw, linebacker, like I said. They took Nick Martin in the 3rd round. A 220-pound linebacker who's 5'11". To me, was more of a 5th or 6th round pick, special team or backup. And Upton Stout, defensive back, they took in the third round. I thought he was a 6th or 7th rounder special teamer. He could potentially play corner or safety, so maybe he replaces Ward, Ufunga. Just felt like we needed to fill these positions that we lost in free agency. And maybe it's guys that fit their system, but they were reaches. They could have traded back to me and gotten all 3 of these guys at least 20, 30 picks later. Upton Stout maybe a few rounds later. Just did not like their day 2 at all. And CJ West in the 4th round to me is a better prospect than all 3 of those guys went on day 2. They got him in the 4th round from Indiana. I really like that pick. That's the only draft pick you can say of theirs that, wow, they got really good value. He should have gone way higher. So they did improve defensive tackle with Collins and West. But based on this draft and all they lost in free agency, they are not better than last year. They might win more games because they might stay healthier, but their roster has some huge holes. More on that in a second. Just want to mention undrafted free agent Isaiah Nair, wide receiver Nebraska. He's 6'4", 440, and he's really athletic. Surprised he wasn't drafted. I heard some 4th, 5th round buzz at the combine when he had that unbelievable workout. He is a project. He's not the best route runner. He needs a lot of work, but undrafted free agent. Outstanding job by the Niners to get him. He's a better prospect to me than Jordan Watkins, wide receiver Ole Miss, they took in the 4th round. So just a real strange draft for the Niners. I could be wrong. You don't evaluate the draft right after it happens. You wait 3 or 4 years. So this could not be a great draft. You just never know. But right now it looks really underwhelming on paper. They're important players. They have a lot of star players on this roster. Their big problem is they have a lot of holes as well. But Brock Purdy, the quarterback we mentioned, Christian McCaffrey, one of the best running backs in the NFL, if he stays healthy. He's not always healthy. Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver. There were rumors that they were trying to shop him as well. More than likely just didn't get what they wanted for him, but trying to save money. George Kittle, we mentioned, the tight end. Trent Williams, left tackle. He's got to be like 40 years old now. Eventually they're going to have to replace him, but he's still outstanding left tackle. When he's healthy, he got hurt. Fred Warner, we mentioned, middle linebacker. And Nick Bosa, edge rusher. They're all studs. They're all one of the best players at their position. So the Niners, sound great. Just listen to those players. But the problem is they have so many holes on the roster, and they have more holes than last year because of all the free agents they lost. The offensive line especially needs probably 3 starters. Now they lost Aaron Banks as well. You have Trent Williams, but the rest of the O-line is really questionable. They did not address it. The rumor was that 49ers try to trade up for maybe Kelvin Banks, who went 9th to the Saints. That's the rumored player. But they tried to move up and weren't able to do it. But offensive line will probably be their biggest need next year. No, it will be. And defensive line was not good last year. They did draft edge rusher in the 1st round and defensive tackle in the 2nd and 4th round. So at least they got some bodies in there. If you want to know the difference between the 49ers who won 6 games and the Eagles who won the Super Bowl, it's the offense and defensive line. Both teams have good quarterbacks, star players throughout the roster, but the Niners have way more holes, and they're not nearly as good on the defensive line and not even close to the Eagles on the offensive line. So that's the big difference. To me, the 49ers just don't have a roster that can compete for a Super Bowl. I could see them winning 8, 9, possibly even 10 games because of their stars, but there's going to be games they lose because of the holes on the roster, because their offensive line gets dominated, because they're really young on the defensive line. So I don't think the 49ers are going to have this big bounce back. I think they might win more games, but they're not going to be as good. They just need to stay healthy. Breakout player, I'm going to go Renardo Green, corner. He's from Florida State. He was their 2nd round pick in the 2024 draft. I thought he was a reach there at the late 2nd round. I thought he was more of a late 3rd round pick, but I was wrong. He looked very good as a rookie in coverage. He needs to be a better run defender, not the best run defending corner. But with Travarius Ward leaving in free agency, Green's going to start, and he exceeded my expectations as a rookie. So if he keeps developing, he could be a really good player in the NFL. All right, that's the 49ers. I think I'm going to do the Rams next, so just look out for that. If you enjoyed this, please give a like. It really helps out the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. Comment down below. What do you think the Niners? Do you think they're going to win 6 games, 8, 10? Most people think they're going to bounce back and win 12-13 and be a contender. I don't agree. If you have not, please check out these videos. Share this with anyone who loves football so we can grow football with cheese. And I will see you in the next video.